The Agricultural Reserve is a nationally recognized land use program that protects 93,000 acres in Montgomery County, Maryland from urban sprawl. The Ag Reserve includes almost a third of the county's land resources located along its northern, western, and eastern borders. A new book honors the legacy of this rural area. Bread and Beauty, A Year in Montgomery County's Agricultural Reserve is part cookbook, part history book, part photo essay, and part profiles of the producers who grow and cultivate our food. We caught up with the book's creators to learn more.
I was working for Montgomery Countryside Alliance in 2015, and we were showing a copy of Growing Legacy, a movie about the Agricultural Reserve at the DC Environmental Film Festival. And a discussion ensued afterward about different ways to reach audiences about the reserve. And Claudia heard about this.
Yes, I heard about this and got in touch with Ellen and suggested how about a cookbook. It would be a nice way to draw people into some of the land use issues and some of the real beauty and delicious food out here. And so we decided to team up and do it.
The book was published in October of 2018, so a little over a year ago, and it was self-published. We produced 1,500 units, and we have about 150 remaining. We wanted to have a beautiful book that reflected the beauty of the reserve. There are so many people doing fascinating work here. There are historical sites, there are farmers, there are people who've lived here for generations. There's habitat protection and animal rescue and recovery. There's many, many, many topics that we thought would be of interest to people who knew of the reserve but didn't know much about what happened here, or didn't really know much about the reserve at all. So we thought a cookbook would be a great vehicle to tell the story, as we discussed, and we thought a year in the reserve might be a great way to go about doing it.
I kind of remember doing two big lists at the beginning, and one was who are all the people we should include, what are the farms, the produce, the places, the historical sites. The second list I remember doing was how would we sell this book, who should we talk to about the reserve, farm advocacy groups, open space groups, nature groups, politicians, cooks, historians, and so we felt like we had a lot of material and a lot of interest out there. And then we just kind of went farm by farm, season by season, produce by produce, and built all the specific pages of the book.
One of the people we interviewed was Matthew Swenson. He was operating White's Ferry, and what he would do after a long and exhausting day is have pre-prepared these bricks of frozen vegetables that he had gone to his CSA at Plow and Stars and collected them, and then come home and chopped and put up and froze these bricks, so when he came home from the ferry he could just put that right into the oven or the microwave. And his wife liked to call them Viking veggies. Well, we were lucky enough to have two wonderful photographers. Martin Radigan did the landscapes and many of the portraits included of the people who live here. And then I didn't realize that food photography, portrait photography, and landscape photography are very separate disciplines. So we were fortunate enough that Claudia's husband could take care of the food photography and some of the close-in vignettes and the other pieces. So we had just this great team born of people we already knew.
Can I use this one? Whatever you want. Sure.
One of the ongoing delights is just the beauty and variety of the apples and the eggs that came from a local farm, from different types of chicken to lay different colored eggs. So people ask us, have you colored them like for Easter? I say, no, they come that way. And it just makes this experience of cooking locally even more wonderful.
More than 100 recipes round out the 312-page book.
We do have recipes from farmers and people who live out here and that use and really enjoy the produce, and so we have some real local specialties. But we also develop the recipes from historic sources. There's Elizabeth Ellicott Lee, and she wrote a cookbook in 1857 that we kind of used as inspiration. It's egg white, sugar, molasses, a little cream of tartar, and you beat it over heat so the egg whites cook, and you get this really nice foamy, sticky texture.
There were challenges, along with the rewards.
We found out we needed to be nimble because, of course, we wanted to write a seasonal cookbook, but people weren't necessarily available for photography during the season that we were trying to do it. And so we wrestled around with the recipes and the farms that we were featuring, and it's kind of always a kind of a fluid process to put it together in a way that made some sense. I was always impressed by what hard work farming is, how nimble that a farmer needs to be with the weather conditions, with soil conditions, and if they're raising animals, all the things that come up with that. They have to be mechanics and biologists and meteorologists.
The women often speak to various groups around the DMV area, including at libraries, Rotary clubs, book festivals, garden clubs, and farmers markets.
What we've discovered is that Montgomery County is just as rich as the Ag Reserve. There are all kinds of people who are doing all kinds of things, and you know, there's so much that goes on in the reserve that you don't have to be just interested in food to come out here. There's history, there's bicycle rallies, there's respite and spirituality, there's nature habitat, and so anybody who could find something out in the reserve, we'll go talk to them.
For more information, go to breadandbeauty.org.